to another episode of Music Prose, where we share stories from beyond the stage. Join us as we explore the highs and lows of musician life and creative minds. Whether you're an aspiring artist or a seasoned pro, you'll find inspiration, humor, insight, and hopefully a sense of community here. I am your host, Crystal Cluley. And the crowd goes mild. One of my favorite jokes. We are broadcasting from the beautiful Blueberry Suite here at Studio 770 in sunny Brea, California, where I'm super happy to have air conditioning because it's been really hot here. This is like a heat wave. And I'm going to get in trouble for singing cover songs. I'll stop that. All right, let's get into today's show. So my guest today is Mr. Rob Gallas. That's like Dallas with a G.
You got it.
I love that. Thank you for that. Dallas. Are you from Texas?
No, have no affiliation with Texas.
No affiliation whatsoever. All right. Well, welcome, Rob. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yes.
I haven't seen you in quite some time. I was trying to think as I was, preparing for today to have you on. I can't remember when we met. Do you remember when we first met?
I don't remember. I don't know if I remember the first time we met, but I remember playing with you. And I don't know if you were playing with Straight 78, the cover band I play in, at the time, or you just came in and you stepped in and sang one of the songs. Right. But it was at.
Was it the Post?
Yes, thank you. The Post, Villa Park. Yes.
Yes, the Post at Rock Falls. Right. Yeah. And I don't remember either whether I was actually on the gig, because I did sub for you a couple of times.
Yes, you did.
I've mentioned in my other episodes. That's the thing I do. I sub a lot. I step in, and I'm grateful to have a reputation as somebody who can come in and fill in, and
Sure.
that's nice that people trust me to come in and take their gigs and
Yeah, absolutely.
keep the ball rolling and do a good job. Not take their gigs. You know what I'm saying? I don't take your gigs. I would never take your gigs.
Completely understand.
I just meant fill in for you, and
which is not easy, I mean, I'm sure you've got a lot of songs that you've already got down, but
I do at this point. But yeah.
But when you've got to learn 30 songs in a week,
Right.
that can be challenging.
It can.
I have friends that have done that, and it's, I especially being a singer, you want to have the songs memorized when you go up there. I do anyway, and I struggle with that sometimes.
So do I. Actually, Tober May, you've been friends with her as long as I have, or maybe longer even. And we talked about that last time. She prefers to have everything memorized, and I prefer to do the same, but it's almost impossible at times.
Yeah.
Like you said, when I'm learning 30 songs in 1 week to just go to a one-off show. So I try to, I have my iPad with my little lyric cheat sheets on it, but I try never to stare at them. I don't want to be that person. Because the show is about engaging with the audience.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And that's something that you do extremely well. I have seen you perform. I've sung with you. And I've always enjoyed your
energy.
As well. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Your energy and your showmanship.
Thank you. I love performing, obviously. It's what I love to do, and I feel like it's almost my responsibility as a lead singer or front guy to be the one engaging with the crowd, and try to get them into the music,
Absolutely. I love that attitude. Yes, it's kind of a responsibility.
Yeah.
I've said before, it's my job, literally, to make people happy, to get people engaged.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And we take that seriously.
Yes, definitely. And I love performing. I've always been. And it's almost like being an athlete up there, when you're really getting into it and you're jumping around and that's how I like to perform. I've always been physical and, into that kind of thing. So,
same.
And singing is very physical.
Absolutely, it is. Yes. Yes, it is. So you mentioned Straight 78.
Yes.
That was the band that I subbed for you with. But you have a couple other projects and bands going on, right? I think Moral Decay.
Moral Decay, which is an original band that is based out of Fullerton.
Okay.
Jim Nicholson, Rick Alba, Jeffrey Sheets, and Gary Olson.
I don't know these guys.
Oh, they've been around forever, and we're finishing up an album now.
Awesome.
So that hopefully will be done here in the near future, and then hidden factor, which is it was college buddies that I grew up with.
Nice.
And we just kind of, I wasn't in the band back in the day, but we recently did some recording, and they asked me to sing, which I thought was great because they were a huge influence on me early on before I even was in a band.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and they were very Beatlesque kind of band.
Oh, fun. So yeah. Lots of harmonies and stuff.
Lots of, they're very into vocal harmony and just that, that pop sensibility, the Beatles thing.
I love that.
Oh, it's super fun.
Yeah, it's people always ask that stupid question: Beatles or Stones, right?
That's a tough one. They both have their.
I've always been a Beatles girl.
Yeah, I'm a big Beatles guy too.
Yeah, that's how I grew up. That's probably one of the reasons that I love harmonies as much as I do. No, not that I don't love being the lead singer and doing the thing, but I also I love harmonizing. I harmonize with the stupid ice cream truck.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
Every time the dang ice cream truck comes down my street, I'm like, oh yeah.
I know. I hear our washing machine go off, and I'm like, ooh, that's kind of a cool melody. That thing going off,
Oh my God, yes. And
how can I incorporate that into a song?
There you go. See. And what would you call it? Oh my gosh. So Straight 78 is a cover band.
Straight 78 is a cover band.
That one is all covers, right?
That's all covers.
Okay. And what kind of covers?
Funk, soul, R&B.
Tell our audience.
Funk, soul, R&B. We do a lot of Bill Withers, a lot of Stevie Wonder, a lot of my favorite stuff is like Otis Redding, Sam Cooke, that kind of stuff. So it's a blast.
Yes.
I love it.
One of the things that surprised me about Straight 78 was I remember learning songs and looking at the set list for the gig that I did there with you. And I was like, wait a minute. Don't you have a male singer? There's a lot of girl songs on this list.
Oh, yeah.
I was kind of amazed.
Well, we kind of do it our own way.
But
that's our thing. And
yeah.
I mean, I cannot sing like Stevie Wonder. I wish I could.
Not many can.
Yeah, I know. He's amazing. So when
right.
I approach a Stevie Wonder song, I make it my own, and I do it as I try to honor his vocal style as much as possible. But
right.
You do what you can, and I just have fun with it, and go into my head voice, whatever, whatever it takes to hit those notes.
To get it out there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I kind of do the same. And I've been in cover bands, obviously, for a very long time. But I feel like there's a difference between a cover and a tribute. I love that you said you want to stay true to the style because I try to do the same. And I do a lot of guy songs, Guns N' Roses and Journey and AC/DC.
Sure.
And I'll put the rasp in my voice if I'm doing, a rock song that does that. I'll put that rasp in there and I'll try to stay true to maybe some of the little riffs or things that they do, right? But I know I'm not going to sound exactly like them.
Right. And I almost feel like Straight 78 is more of a, we're funk, soul, and R&B, but we have an edge to the music because we all come from a rock background. Like drummer Dave and Brett and myself have played together for years, and we all grew up playing original music, our own music, in an original band, rock band. So
you started with originals first?
We started with originals, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And then I think it was Brett was the one who initiated Straight 70. He's like, he's really into the funk thing. He's a bass player.
Right.
So it kind of goes hand in hand. But he's the one who initiated it all. And Dave and I said, yeah, let's give it a shot. And God, I think it was like, we've been off and on playing for years. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been around a while.
2008-ish, I think.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you can keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, I wanted to ask you about the difference between performing covers and performing originals. And one of the things about covers is that that's just never going to go away, right? And when you're doing that, you're pretty much guaranteed an audience because as long as you're playing things that people enjoy and can sing along with, right?
Yep.
They're happy, But then originals, you really have to push a little harder to gain a following and get those things out there because people don't recognize the music.
Right.
And that makes it tougher.
It is.
But is one or the other more rewarding for you, do you feel?
I prefer to do the original thing. I mean, that's because you get to create your own music, you get to do your own thing, and it's more, I think it's more true to who I am. I love doing the cover thing as well.
Right.
And when I play out live, I try to throw in some covers in there just for people to relate to,
Right.
They might not be familiar with my music, so they're going to be familiar.
It's a way to pull them in.
Exactly, a way to reel them in.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. Try. You do the best you can with
Sure.
and get your music out there, which is one of the reasons I'm here today. But it's the throwing in the covers always helps to, like you said, reel them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reel it in. There I go with cover songs again. Everything's a song with me. That's the product of having done covers for so long.
I live in the same world.
Right?
Yep.
There's a song for everything.
Yep.
Come on. Oh, man. So your first musical experience as a kid growing up.
Oh, wow. Okay, my first musical experience.
Where did you begin?
Well, the first memory I have of hearing about me singing was my mom told me she was changing my diapers.
Wow, that young, huh?
Yeah, and I don't remember it, but she said she was singing me "Raindrops Keep Falling on My," raindrops keep falling. Oh, yeah. I'm not supposed to sing covers.
It's okay. We're okay with like 5 to 10 seconds of it, right?
But then she said,
right.
she was singing, and she got to head, and I said,
sing that to me too.
Head. I just head. That was my first vocal moment.
I was gonna say, was that your first word too?
No, I don't know. I don't know about that. Maybe it was. Could have been.
Most kids start with mom or dad, right?
Yeah.
Maybe mama, dada, head. I'm told one of my first words was peppy, which was my way of saying Pepsi, because apparently I liked soda when I was little.
Okay.
Bad parenting. Why were they giving me soda when I was that young? Oh my gosh. So yeah, my mom sang "Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head."
Yeah.
To me too.
Great tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that she's passed, it's tough for me to hear it without kind of tearing up a little bit. It's a little.
Yeah, and that's one thing about music. It always takes you back, to a certain moment.
I was just gonna say that's kind of it's the glory and the curse of it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That it attaches to moments and memories, and some good, some bad. But it's always emotional.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. And hopefully more in a joyful way than.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, I also think for me at least, it's cathartic. Right?
Yes.
If I'm angry, I can put on an angry song, and I feel better. Right. Then I don't need to go out and punch things.
Or punch things while you're listening to an angry song.
But no, it's a way to kind of get those feelings out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll put on a sad song if I'm feeling sad.
Right.
Sad songs have gotten me through some really sad times.
Yes.
Just by being there for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were talking about family, coming back around to that.
Yes.
My family wasn't very supportive of. I mean, they took me to my lessons and things, but they weren't excited about me doing it as a career. How did your family feel about that?
I think it was mixed. My dad was a really well-trained singer.
So you have a musical family.
Yeah, he sang. He took voice lessons. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then my mom sang, and she was self-taught pianist. But my dad was classically trained, so he was singing. Okay. He was a crooner, and he had a beautiful voice, baritone. But he didn't like the way I sang because I was singing rock, and
sure.
And he had some moments where it something I can't repeat.
Give us the clean version.
Eventually, he came around, and he was more supportive later on when he saw okay, he's really into this. He's passionate about it, and he came to some gigs and stuff growing up. But my mom was always, I just want you to do whatever makes you happy. That's how my mom was,
Nice.
Very, very, very much of a mom.
Aw,
so,
that's
great.
But
for the most part, I mean, all my siblings have been super supportive. And
yeah, you have a lot of siblings.
A lot of siblings. I'm the youngest of six.
Jinx.
Yeah, yeah. Are you youngest of six? Or?
No, no. It's just that we said it at the same time.
Oh, okay, got it.
Told you I did my homework. I read your bio. I read up on you.
Okay. Yep.
That's a big family. 6 siblings. I only had one younger sister. So.
Okay.
And I hated it when she decided she wanted to sing too. There were a lot of years between us. There was 8 years.
But you have the opportunity to harmonize.
True, and we did end up doing that.
Okay.
But at first, it was like,
yeah,
well,
more,
this is my thing. Can she have her own thing?
Yeah.
Right? Did you have any of those kind of sibling rivalries with yours?
Not so much, because I think we were all into music, but I think I was the only one who really went out and pursued it.
Gotcha.
You know, musically, but everybody, I felt it was advantageous to be the youngest of 6 because there was so much music in the house, you know, and we all bought albums, and we all would sit in front of the stereo in the air-conditioned house at summertime when it was too hot to play outside. It was like 102 or whatever.
Oh, man.
And we'd just sit there and we'd listen to, you know, we'd look at the album covers and read the lyrics and read, oh, he was producing this album. I recognize that name, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. But those were... I miss them big time.
Even, you know, I always enjoyed reading the liner notes, reading the lyrics or whatever they would put in there,
and the artwork to the albums.
I think that's something that I find sad about today's world of streaming. Is that you don't get that anymore.
And people their attention span is nil, you know, and it's like to get. I still like to listen to full albums, you know, when I have the opportunity to, but now it's, you know, most people are listening. Oh, I like that part. I like this song. You're at a party and they play like 30 seconds of it, and then that reminded me of this song, you know, and so you lose the.
I even think a lot of artists don't really make quote unquote albums anymore. You know, I sort of feel that way. I think the 90s was the last time. God, I'm old.
I'm right there with you. That was my.
Seriously feel like that was the last time that I heard a song on the radio, right? And I was discussing with you a little bit off camera. We were talking about. I heard one song on a radio, and I fell in love with it, and I went out and bought the CD, the physical CD, right, and listened to the whole thing, and the rest of it was good too, right? And I don't think that happens anymore. People tend to want to now write a hit. They just want one, and they'll put out the single, and then they'll put out another single. Nobody writes for a whole album.
Yeah,
you know.
And usually people like we're still writing out, like the guys I play with, but we're older. You know, I think younger people tend to go. It's like I got to put a single out, or I got to know. Like I just did an open mic, and this guy said he puts singles out, and he's a well-versed recording guy. He does all his own stuff, and he puts a single out like every 8 weeks. I'm like, dang, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
you know?
That's.
And I'm sure he's got it all built up, but he's got it dialed in. He's got his own studio, and he just pumps them out. And I wish I had that ability to. I can record myself, but not good enough to throw it out in public, you know?
Oh, yeah. That's one of the reasons that I've said every time I'm excited to have this Blueberry Suite here in the studio, because I am not a techie. I'm not the gear person. I don't have the fancy mics and the stuff. So I'm super happy that they created this room and gave me this space to do this, because I wanted to, and it wasn't something I was comfortable trying to do on my own.
Sure.
You know, as I come and do this, I learn, which is good. But yeah, having your own recording capabilities probably makes a big difference. Do you record your own stuff yourself, or are you working with a studio?
Well, I do like the pre-production at home. I have a little audio thing set up in the corner of the garage, and I'll go out there and I'll record and work on vocals and vocal harmonies and arrangements, and see what's working, try some things out. And then once I get it dialed to a certain point, I'm going, okay, let's take it in and do it right, or with people who can get it dialed in. And I feel like, for me, I always feel like I can perform better if somebody else is working the knobs, because I get frustrated. It's like my headphone gets caught on the curtain, or and it's like I just want to be able to sing,
right,
and focus on the vocals or the guitar or whatever it is I'm doing,
right. I 100% get that.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. That's part of the reason that I do play piano, and I was classically trained, so it's actually hard for me to improvise on that instrument because I was taught you read the notes on the page and you play what's written. You know what I mean?
You know how to read.
Well, yes, but it also makes it difficult at this stage in my life when I'm trying to do other things in jazz. And so I had to teach myself how to just read a chord chart because my classical teacher would not do that for me.
Okay, you had to read it
I
note
had
for note.
okay, if I'm going to play a C major chord, then I have to play these notes, right? I had to figure that out. And now it's great with Google. I have students that want to sing a song that I haven't heard. I could just Google the chords, right? And so it's it's super handy to have that. But yeah, that wasn't how I came up. But as much as I appreciate being able to accompany myself, I don't want to do it publicly because I feel exactly like you. I just want to focus on the singing. So I always hire accompanists when I go out to perform.
And that's interesting because I'm trying to. This is my first venture with doing a solo project. I got the EP coming out in September, and it is a lot harder, and because I've been doing a lot of open mics to get my chops up, and it's a lot more difficult singing and playing guitar, because I have to think a lot when am I going to the right chord or whatever, and it takes a lot more effort, and I can't be as loose and free as I usually am because like we've talked, I like to jump around and stuff on stage, and I sweat.
You can't do that with the guitar in your hands like that.
No.
Well, to a degree you can, obviously.
You can, but I'm not there yet, and I sweat profusely when I'm on stage, and I've got to start wearing wristbands.
I was just going to say that must make it difficult.
Oh, and I'm slipping and sliding all over the strings. So my wife was at the last open mic. She's like, you need to get some like wristbands or something. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And Vince suggested that, Portillo, because he sweats.
Oh, right.
But we both know Vince.
Yes, keyboard player for, Gypsy Dolls with Tober and also Straight 78
Straight 78.
Yeah.
But he said, he goes, get some wristbands. He goes, that'll do the trick. So
good.
That's what I need to go out and get some wristbands.
That just makes me think it's such a nice thing that we have a community of supportive people like that, right? That want to help us out and see us succeed.
Yeah, exactly. And all the guys I've played with, and you had asked me earlier, I don't mean to deviate here.
No, please.
You had asked me about Straight 78, and you said, I haven't really seen Straight 78 play much lately.
Right, I have not. I haven't seen any gigs with you guys lately.
Yeah, and it's I think we still play. We've got a gig coming up this Saturday, a private gig.
Nice.
But it's we're not pursuing it like we used to because Dave and Brett are both in Stevie Nicks' Illusion now. Dave's playing drums.
Is Monty in that too?
Monty's
right now,
in there,
so...
and Monty was playing with Straight 78, and Monty played all the guitars on my EP.
Okay.
And he was
great.
Monty's amazing guitar player.
Oh, he's fantastic. Yeah.
And Dave and Brett, I mean, we've been playing together for years, off and on, and they got the opportunity. I think Monty hit them up, and he asked if you guys want to play drums. And I was really getting into more of the original stuff, and that's where my focus was. So it worked out perfectly, but we still
kind of went
come
different
together
directions.
And play together. So we're all kind of doing our own thing, but we still are doing the Straight 78 thing when stuff comes up, when opportunities come up. So it's all good.
Yeah, that's great.
And you do have that community, a supportive community, like Tober,
right?
You, Vince, Dave, Brett, Monty. We all know each other.
Although you're also getting players poached.
Yes, and that's tough. It is tough.
I lost my favorite guitar player to Vince and the Gypsy Dolls.
Okay.
Dave Maciel is with them now, and
I haven't played with Dave.
He was my go-to duo guy when I would do acoustic duo stuff.
Okay.
But I booked a full band gig, and I hired Vince, of course, to play keys with the full band. That's so he and Dave met, and the next thing I know, Dave is now with the Gypsy Dolls, and I'm like, wait a minute. But that was because Stevie Nicks' Illusion poached Monty. Right?
Yeah.
So, it's like this revolving door, but it's nice that we're all still friendly and supportive of each other, of course.
As it should be.
I'm kind of kidding. I'm kind of kidding
but
about
when
the
opportunities,
poaching.
You can't blame somebody if opportunities come along.
Oh, absolutely not.
So I remember talking to Dave about it. He goes, I've got this opportunity, and he was kind of hedging on it and wondering whether he could commit to it because they play a lot. you know?
They do.
And I said, dude, go for it, man. I go, don't, go for it. Throw it in there, throw your hat in there, or whatever the saying is, you know, and go
throw
for
your hat
it.
in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he's glad he did. And then Brett kind of followed suit and got his way in the band. And
like as much as I miss my Dave, you know, I couldn't keep him as busy as the Gypsy Dolls do.
Yeah.
So I 100% understand, because this is how we make a living.
Yep.
Right? At least I do, and I know he does.
Sure.
I didn't ask you that, actually. Do you have other
I have a
jobs
day job.
and things? You've
I have
got
a day
the dreaded
job.
day job.
You have a day job. Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Well, that, I mean, obviously that contributes to your financial health, as we would call it, right?
Yeah,
So
you got to make ends meet.
You
know,
have to.
And
especially if you've got a family, right? You've got
got a
wife
family,
you know.
got a wife, and no kids, but kids are grown. But you know, it's I would love to make my money off music, but
wouldn't we all? Yeah.
Yeah, but my job's just it's just a means to an end. But I don't know where I was going with that.
Hopefully it doesn't make you miserable, whatever it is.
No, it doesn't make me miserable. It's not my passion.
Right.
But my passion is this, you know, and this is what I love to do, but it feeds my passion. You know, it gives me money to go do what I want to do.
It supports
it supports it. Thank you.
Passion, that dream. Yeah. That's
for sure. Yeah.
So let's talk about the dream. Let's talk about the songwriting.
Sure.
You've mentioned a couple times you have an EP coming out, which is very exciting.
I have an EP coming out. So I as I mentioned, I was at the point where I was playing with Straight 78, and then I was in, I had another project, Slow Felix at the time, and
haven't heard of that one.
That was Dave and Brett and I and a guy named Greg, and that I was having a hard time keeping things. I think I was maybe I wanted to be a little more ambitious with it, and those guys were busy and schedules and things like that, and I was playing with Moral Decay at the time. So my decision was instead of being spread out amongst 5 bands, try to put all my eggs in one basket, which is kind of what I did with. And I told those guys, I go, this is where the momentum is. This is where the traction is. I'm gonna try and focus on this. And then we were doing great, and then COVID came along and hit the skids. No more playing out live. So we said, let's take this opportunity to record our second album. Great. And the first album was mainly it was a project, more of a project, and this one's more of a band, and that project turned into a band.
Okay.
So
and this one is Moral Decay?
Moral Decay.
By the way, folks, if you're interested in looking that up, it is not the word decay, right?
Right.
It is the letters D-K.
That's it.
Right.
Moral and then D and then K.
Right.
And then the album's taking forever to complete. So I started to get frustrated with that, and it's nobody's fault. It's just the way things are, you know, with lives going on and you know, learning curves on the recording process and all that. So I was talking to Dave, and we were out having lunch, and he goes, how's Moral Decay going? I'm going, it's going good, but it's taking forever. And he goes, well,
kind of trudging.
He goes, why don't you record some of your songs? Because I'm always sending him songs like, what do you think? You know, and he goes, Steve Greco, he was in Funkberry, with Dave and Brett. He said Funkberry kind of dissipated with everybody going in their own direction.
Sure. Well, in 2020, like you said, COVID, that made a lot of that happen too.
Yes.
That put a lot of things out of commission.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the bands I was with for probably 10 years just sort of
it
fell
really
off.
screwed things up.
We didn't end per se. There was not a solid ending, but it was sort of just fell off.
Right.
You know,
fell off. Yeah.
After that, because it was hard to keep things rolling.
Yes.
When you're stuck at home.
Yep.
You know.
But Dave was saying, you know, Steve's looking for. He's got time on his hands, and Steve is really good in the studio. He's a good engineer. So I
didn't know that about him.
Yeah, he's a really
great.
good engineer. He's a drummer. He sings, and I'm like, Steve, what do you think? So I threw some songs his way, and he said, yeah, this sounds great. And it was supposed to be kind of an acoustic thing, which is the way it started out. And then I'm like, well, what if we added drums, or what if we added keys? And it became more of a production, you know, which I don't think Steve was anticipating, but he was super cool about it, and he kept me focused. And I was, anyway. That is how it all evolved. The EP, and I ended up picking. We kind of both decided on the 3 songs. I sent him like 30 songs, and we picked these 3 for whatever reason. And he really liked. I remember he really liked "Secrets in the Cellar," which is one of the songs on the album. He thought that was a good tune, and he goes, "We definitely got to do this one." All right, cool. And then we picked 2 others. So,
awesome.
So I'm really excited about it. It's the first thing that I've ever done solo.
It's all you.
I mean,
other players, but
yeah, there's other players for sure, and I could not have done it without them.
But the songs were not co-written, right? This was all.
No, this is all my stuff. I wrote all the songs.
That's what I meant by all you.
I wrote the music. I wrote the lyrics and did all the arrangements and the vocal arrangements and did all the singing, and then I had people come in. Rick from Moral Decay came in and played bass. Jeff played keys from Moral Decay on one of the songs. And then Monty, we were rehearsing for a New Year's gig show at the studio, and he goes, "What are you doing, Rob?" And I go, "I've been recording some solo stuff." And I go, "You want to hear it?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I played him a song, and he listened to it all the way through, and he's like, "Man, I like that." And I go, "You want to play on it?" And he said, "Yeah." So I said, "Let's do it." So Monty's playing guitar, Steve's doing all the drums. Steve Greco is playing drums and percussion, and is there anybody else? I think that's it.
That's awesome when it comes together organically like that, and right? And doesn't that feel good when you play something for somebody and they're like, "Yeah, I want to play with that," right?
Especially, and I have a lot of respect.
That's got to be kind of an affirmation. And
all the guys I play with, I have a lot of respect for because they're very into what they do, and Monty's he's a true musician, and when he said he liked it, I'm like, okay. And I love playing with Monty. I love the way he plays, and he's just got he's always on, and he just plays a burning, amazing solo. It reminds me of David Gilmour meets Randy Rhoads. Kind of vibe, and I
gotta hear this.
Oh, it turned out really good. I mean, I'm really happy with it. And the thing that surprised me is we never really got together and rehearsed. I just said, "Here's the song, here's a recording of it. Go ahead and write a part, and then we'll kind of see what happens in the studio." And we did. We kind of deviated from some of the stuff that Monty came up with, and he came up with some really great stuff, but some of it was really busy. He's a busy because he can,
because he has the technical prowess,
yes.
right? Yeah.
And then we just kind of simplified some of the things.
It's nice that you kind of gave him rein to create his own part,
and I wanted that because I feel like if people are engaged and it's,
I was just going to say
I don't want to tell them what to do. I want to
You're gonna get
give
more
them a
of
vision and an idea of where I see the song going, but I don't want to, because they're all great musicians and performers.
I think that we're all like this, all of us musicians, that we're going to give more of a passionate performance if we are free to do it our way, right?
Absolutely.
Put our spin or thing on it. And even doing covers, I still want to do it my way. But maybe I want to rearrange something or change the groove or whatever. But whatever that is, it just makes it more authentic.
Yep.
So it's nice that you gave him a little leeway to kind of create his thing. I wanted to ask you about that songwriting process too, though, when you said you wrote all of the lyrics, the music, the everything. Does that all come together for you in one thing? Do you start with a riff or music and then write lyrics? Do you start with a poem or lyrics and then... How does that work for
me?
you?
I know everybody's different, but it goes both ways for me. It's sometimes I'll just be noodling on the couch, drinking a glass of wine, and it comes, like a chord progression comes, and I'll start singing over it, and I might have a melody in mind, or I have a book of lyrics that I'm always writing, and try to keep things, and I'll grab a lyric in there, and I'll just start singing over that chord progression. Or like I've written a lot of stuff with Dave Christensen, and he's a really good lyricist. I love the way he writes. Yeah.
And I didn't know that about him.
Yeah, he's a really creative guy.
I have only played with him in the cover band. So
yeah, he's a talented guy.
That's great.
But he's written a lot. We've done a lot of writing together over the years, and I love writing. I love because he when he writes in phrases. He keeps the song in context. Not all the time, but a lot of the time, it's the same amount of continents, or you know what I mean. Where it's where the phrase, you can make it the phrasing work. You know, you're not trying to squish in 20 syllables into a 10-syllable sentence. He keeps it. And maybe it's because he's a drummer, but the cadence.
It may be.
It stays the same.
It may be a drumming rhythm thing,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
But I love doing that. I love getting lyrics and writing off of somebody else's ideas too. So it comes in many different ways. Lyrics may come first, and lyrics are, for me, to come up with a good lyric that's not easy for me. That's something I have to work at. I'm not a poet. You know, I'm not.
I get it. It's tough for me too. Yeah.
And for me, for a song to work,
and it's very personal.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And with this whole project, I tried to open up and be a little more vulnerable, because that's what I'm drawn to when I hear musicians or singers. You know, we're talking about. We have a common interest in a lot of musicians.
Yes.
Even though you're a jazz, you primarily, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but you sing a lot of jazz.
I do. A lot of jazz and R&B, lounge type stuff these days, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a huge Chris Cornell fan.
As am I.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I'm a jazz singer, but I'm... his voice was just phenomenal.
Amazing. But I love singers that are emotive. And
I was just going to say, it was the emotion, and it's not just the voice.
Right.
Right?
It's the way they're singing
it.
The feeling. And
for me, it takes you somewhere.
That, to me, that's the defining thing, the defining thing, I can't think of another word, that makes a song great is, do you feel it?
Right.
Do you feel it? Do you hear it? Is it whatever emotion it's making you feel, happy, sad, joyful,
right, whatever it is, it touches you.
Yes, yeah. And it takes you there, and it's like it's almost like an escape, you know. It's like
absolutely.
And you dig into that, and you So
that's the magic of music, and that's why we do what we do, right?
Yes.
I mean, we're not getting rich off of this.
No.
some do, and that's great. But
not
a lot
yet.
of us just
I'm
the
not
grunts,
giving up yet.
You know, right? But I've talked before about how we're just kind of the grunts that are just out there doing the cover thing at the local dive bar and whatever.
But that's where your
or
money
backing
is.
Up the major artists. So we're not the artists, but we're backing them up. Or I mean, maybe someday I'll get lucky enough to have a major artist come in here and tell me what their experience is, because maybe it's not so different, but
Sly Stone is no. And when you told me that, I was like, "Wow, okay, I have a newfound respect for you."
Oh, well,
not that I didn't respect you before, but Sly Stone, he's one of my all-time favorites. I love Sly Stone.
Oh, me too. And he was one of the first to have an integrated band back in the day. White, black, male, female, everybody. It was just, if you're talented, right, and you can do the thing. So that was very exciting for me, for sure. Yeah. But again, I wasn't the star.
That's okay.
I'm the backing singer, one of the backing singers. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that's why I say we're the grunts, the almost behind the scenes kind of. But that's
wrong
okay.
With that. Yeah.
Right. So I'm doing it for the love of music, not for the idea of becoming rich and famous.
Absolutely.
I would not say no to being rich. I don't know about famous, actually. Famous might be tough. But
to deal with all of it.
Paparazzi and not being able to go to a grocery store. Or
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel about that. But
obviously we're not doing it to become rich. I mean, there's always that dream to make some money off of it. But it's like I almost feel like I have to do it. It's like, what I mean? It's
I say that all the time.
Instinctual for me.
Absolutely. It's just part of who you are.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're not putting on a show. You are the show. It is you.
Yes. I agree. Yeah, I feel like it's hard for me, and I know a lot of people can do this. I can't go out and sing like certain people. I can't imitate people. I sing like me. I'll sing other people's songs, like I was saying. It's,
right.
like...
But do it your way.
You do it your own way.
And I'll do it my way.
Yeah. Right. You're breaking the rules.
I know. I think we do.
Nothing wrong with breaking rules.
Okay, so back to this EP. Tell me, so you said 3 songs.
3 songs.
Then you mentioned one of it, Secrets from the Cellar?
Secrets in the Cellar. So they're
in
all...
In the Cellar.
Secrets in the Cellar.
In the Cellar, okay.
So,
I said from. It was in. So Secrets in the Cellar. And what's that about? Secrets
in the Cellar is the title of the EP is All That Is True.
Okay.
And Secrets in the Cellar is a song about dealing with your... This is my trying to be more vulnerable stage, but dealing with your stuff. You know, I know we're not supposed to cuss, but there's a more profound word for that. It's
your
about
shoes.
Your shoes. Yeah, and
right.
Just facing your fears and those things that you bury inside that take you to that you don't want people to see. And the only
right. Your inner demons,
your inner
to speak.
Demons,
yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
and whatever those triggers that set you off. And for me, it's you've got to go through it. You've got to go. You got to face it. You cannot. Sometimes you have to go around it because there's no other way to get there. Because you can't. I mean, sometimes and I speak to like you. There's people that you don't agree with, or you have family members that you clash with,
sure.
and
yeah.
Sometimes you got to walk around it because it's got to be reciprocal. You both got to work it out. Sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But not that I have anybody in my family that just came to mind.
No, I get it. But yeah.
But for me, it's like really facing your demons, and dealing with that, and that's what that song's all about.
Love it. And tell me about the other 2.
The other 2, one is called A Rocker Dies Every Day. Mm-hmm. And that lyric came, we've had a lot of good ones pass away in the last 10, 15 years. And I forget who it was at the time, but one of my buddies texted me back, said, it's like a rocker dies every day. And I'm like, lyric.
Light bulb, yeah.
And that's where it all came from.
Awesome.
So that was that song, and it's kind of a tribute to some of my favorites
some
over
of the
years.
Heroes and influences.
Big time.
Fabulous.
And then the last one is One of Us, which is and all these songs and it wasn't intended, but all these songs kind of have an underlying theme of death, which is not meant to be morbid. Mm-hmm. It's more all these songs were inspired by, like Secrets in the Cellar is dying the deaths that we live throughout our life. It's like we're not the same person we are when we're 20. Hopefully we grow and we evolve.
Right.
So that's the deaths within our own lives, the deaths we die, and then Rocker Dies Every Day. That's pretty self-explanatory.
Yes.
And then One of Us was inspired by a mutual acquaintance friend who had passed away. He was a musician or a singer. And we were just starting to get to know each other, and it was kind of my way of processing it. His name was Brian Healy, and he was in a band called Dead Artist Syndrome.
Interesting.
He labeled himself the Prince of Darkness.
Okay.
Very goth.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I just was starting to get to know him over the last 5 or 6 years that he was alive, but we always were playing in the same community of friends and everything. And good guy, really eccentric, really funny, intelligent guy, but he was messy, and like we all are, and when I was writing the song, I'm like, God,
life is messy.
Life is messy.
Yeah.
And it was a song that when I was writing it, I'm like, I felt like we wrote it together, because he was in my subconscious or something, but it was it's like a song that was intended to be about him, but it's about all of us. And it was like one of us within our community passed away, but it's a song that I think everybody can relate to. It's about just needing to be loved, and everybody's trying to figure out how to get where they need to be.
Right.
You know, we're all trying to find our way, and some will pray, some are prey. You know, it's like we're prey. You know, some are.
I like the wordplay.
Yeah, and
I love good wordplay.
And we all want to dance the dance. We all want to fall in love, and we want to be romanced. But when it comes down to it, we're all connected because we're all made of flesh and blood, whether you're male, female, gay, whatever. You know, we're all the same.
Underneath,
we all need water. We all need food.
Basic survival needs.
Exactly.
We all want love. We all want
to be loved.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, the whole thing.
So I feel like it's kind of something everybody can relate to, hopefully. Yeah. And that wasn't the intention. It just came out that way.
But that's part of the creative process, right? You start with one thing and it becomes something maybe completely different even throughout the process.
Right.
Maybe not so different, but you know, it never is just a seed, right? You plant the seed and then the seed blossoms.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we're going to end up running out of time here, but you have brought your guitar. Anyone who is actually watching this can see there's a guitar sitting here. I do not play this thing. Rob,
sure.
Would you give us a little bit of that song? Maybe you can give us a first chorus, a taste of...
Absolutely. Do we have time for a whole song, or do you want me just to...
let me ask our engineer here, Richard. What are we looking at?
Go for it. Okay.
Yeah? Fabulous.
So this is the song, One of Us. It was a perfect segue to that song, and this is goes something like this.
Great.
We're all trying to find it, we're all blinded by it, looking for something to embrace, trying to find the next escape. We're all trying to make some sense, looking for recompense. We get pushed out of the nest and left to figure out the rest. And there goes one of us. We're all made of flesh and blood, we're all looking for a little love. We all slip, sometimes we fall upon deaf ears to a beck and call. We all cry and we all pray, get caught up in our own mistakes. Some will pray and some I pray. We're all trying to find our way. And there goes one of us. And there goes one of us. Along came your day, swept you away. And there goes one of us, left there to rest. You're such a beautiful mess. You're such a beautiful mess. You're so beautiful. We wanna dance the dance, get caught up in romance. Tell me, did you take the chance? Did you take the time to dance? And there goes one of us. Along came your day, swept you And there goes one of us left at rest. You're such a beautiful mess. You're such a beautiful mess. You're so beautiful. 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 You're such a beautiful mess. You're so beautiful. Thank you.
I'm trying not to clap too loud into the mic. Sorry, I'm going to get in trouble. That was literally beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
You were right. It's very dynamic. There's a lot of vocal range in there. I love that. And I really liked the lyrics and the wordplay, like you said.
Thank you.
Really, really great, Rob.
Thank
really,
you.
I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of it.
Thank you. That was the broken down version.
Yeah.
It's
the stripped kind of.
The stripped. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Great job.
So
Thanks
much.
for sharing that with us. This is the first time we've actually had somebody perform on the show.
Oh.
A lot of, well, I guess Corey Jacobs was one of my first guests. He does a lot of original stuff, but a lot of people I've been talking to, it's been cover stuff, and so we can't, without paying for copyrights.
Yeah, gotcha.
We can't do that. So it's really great to be able to share some new original stuff from a fabulous local artist.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Glad that you could take the time and come and grace us with
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. This was exciting.
So, quick plug, if that's
yes,
okay.
Yes, please. No, I was going to ask you, when is this coming out? Where can people find it?
Yeah, so the album or the EP is coming out. It's going to be out on all the digital platforms.
And this is just under your name. I'm sorry, I interrupted, but it's
just under my name, Rob Gallas.
So Rob Gallas, right?
Rob
because
Gallas.
we were talking about the band names, and I wanted to make sure that people know it's just Rob Gallas.
Rob Gallas. Yeah, right. And I may perform under a band name once we get going, but
for right now, it's robgallasmusic.com.
robgallas.com, correct. Rob Gallas. So robgallasmusic.com is the website. Out September 6th, Friday, September 6th. It'll be on Spotify, Pandora, all the digital platforms, distributed through DistroKid. And what else? Oh, performing at opening for Henry Capano at the Coach House.
Oh, fun.
And Monty and Diana from S&I will be backing me up, along with Rich,
nice.
Rick. Sorry, Rick. Rick from Moral Decay on bass, and then Steve. Steve's not going to be available, so Dave is going to be playing cajon.
So
it's real broken
the
down
guys
acoustic.
together.
Getting the band back together.
Yeah, that's right.
Getting the band back together.
And we're
performing under RG and the Glory Bees.
The Glory Bees?
In the Glory Bees. So
love it.
That's the band name for now.
What's the date on that?
That is the 10th of October. It's a Thursday night. We're pre-selling tickets, so if you're interested.
At the Coach House?
The Coach House.
And
Coach House in San Juan Capistrano.
The website tickets?
You can come to me.
Just
so
come
Rob Gallas Music at Gmail is my email address.
That's where to find you.
That's where you can find me.
Awesome.
All the time.
We know where to find you now. You may end up with some new internet stalkers. Kidding. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for playing for us and singing. That was really great.
Thank you.
I've always envied songwriters. I'm a singer and an interpreter, of songs. I'm just not a good writer of them, and I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
It's a whole different talent, Yeah. And clearly you have many.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much, as do you.
Thank you. You're very kind. All right. And thanks to my audience. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Music Prose, Prose. Yes, because I like my wordplay. We may be pros, but we're prosing and rambling on about things here at Music Prose, right? Bringing you closer to the heart of a musician's journey. You can like, subscribe, comment, share, tell me who you'd like to have me talk about or with, and, give me some ideas. In the meantime, stay inspired, stay creative. If you want to find out more about Rob, we just mentioned it's robgallasmusic.com.
Correct.
Right? If you're interested in me, crystalclulee.com. That's CLULEE.com. Yes, it's a weird name, I know. And I don't have a cute trick to say like Dallas with a G. It's just Clulee, and don't call me Clueless. And if you're interested in finding out more about Studio 770, literally studio770.com. And I think that Richard, is there a separate website for the Blueberry Suite now or no? Not yet? Not live yet. Okay. So in the meantime, just go to studio770.com. And if you're interested in podcasting, obviously look up Blueberry Suite, because that's where we are. You can't see the blueberries on the screen today, but we're in the Blueberry room. And there's also, of course, regular recording studio, so if you've got a project like...
Beautiful studio.
Yeah.
Very
really nice stuff, and a great engineer, obviously. So, until next time, keep the music playing and the stories flowing.